everyone, thank you so much for joining me here today. If you're new, I'm Amanda. Welcome to the channel where we're all about shattering the mental health stigma. If you have not already, make sure that you make sweet love to that subscribe button so you're not missing any of these goodies. Today I want to talk about the last month of my life. So my birthday was on April 1st. Yeah, get it out, laugh away. My birthday was on April 1st. And a couple of days before my birthday, I decided that I was going to step away from Facebook. I was going to deactivate my account and take a break. And there was a few deciding factors on this. There was a few things that pushed me in this direction. One was that disagreement that I had with my friend had been kind of fanned by something that I had posted on Facebook. It wasn't the cause of the argument, but it had been fanned by something that I had posted that was pretty inconsiderate, all things considered. And I didn't mean for it to be. I didn't even think about it. That's just it. We don't think. When we post, when we scroll, when we're interacting on social media, we're being mindless and we're not thinking. And I'm not saying that you should censor yourself by any means, but be considerate. There is somebody on the other side of the keyboard or the screen. I wasn't doing that. And I made a post that just ended up creating more stress in my life. And I realized that whenever I logged in, I was really feeling kind of gross. It felt gross. I felt grimy every time I logged in. It was very rare that I logged in and smiled and felt good. It was very rare that it boosted my mental health. I deactivated my feed a long time ago. I turned it off, so I don't have a feed when I log into Facebook. There's no feed, it's just a positive quote. It's a thing called Feed Eradicator that you can put on your computer, and I deleted the Facebook messaging app and everything from my phone a long time ago, so I do not get updates on my phone. And it wasn't that I felt like it was an addiction, per se, because actually, I don't know. I don't know what to call it. I don't want to put a label on it, but it wasn't like when I was on my phone for 4 hours a day. It wasn't to that point. But coming from someone who is a recovered addict, I got a lot of the same feelings as I did when I was doing coke. Let that sit in for a second. When I would do a bump of cocaine, I would get that high, I'd get that rush, and things would feel better for just a second. They'd feel good. And it's very similar with social media. You check, you get a new like, you check, you get a new message, and you get that dopamine hit. And I felt like it was getting to the point where I was kind of a slave to the dopamine hits. I was constantly messaging someone because I wanted a new message, because I wanted a new like, and that's just not healthy. And I knew it wasn't healthy. But I was kind of in a place, because of the argument with a friend and some other things that were going on in my life, I was kind of at a place where I was just craving validation, and I was craving that easy boost, that easy feel-good, yummy, warm, fuzzy feeling. So it got to the point where I was realizing that it wasn't serving me in any way. And I didn't know that it was gonna be 30 days. I just said, I need to get off this. So I deactivated my account. And I wanna share with you guys some of the things that I learned during this time, or some of the things that I realized during this time. I also kind of stepped back from Instagram and other things as well. I don't have a TikTok or any of that. I have an Instagram, this channel obviously, and my Facebook. And I posted a few times on Instagram, but I wasn't being really active there, and I certainly wasn't scrolling or anything, just trolling while I was on there. So while I didn't do a full detox, I did get completely off Facebook, and I stepped back away from other things, putting restrictions on my phone, and just deciding to get a breath of fresh air. So the number one thing that I think I learned during this is that the benefits to me of social media weren't outweighing the negative aspects. So the benefits just weren't good enough to justify all of the negative things that came with it. And there's quite a few negative things that come with it. Number one, like I said, you become mindless, and the more mindless you are, the harder it is to be cognizant of your mood and to be cognizant of what you need. If you're sitting there every time you feel uncomfortable and going, I'm just gonna check my social media, you're not allowing your brain time to process your emotions. You're constantly going, I don't want to be on that side of the emotional spectrum, so you try to shut it off. Well, it doesn't work like that, and I realized that more and more during this experience. It doesn't work like that. if you are feeling uncomfortable when you get on your phone or whatever, you're not getting rid of that uncomfortable feeling. You might be distracting yourself from it for a minute, but that pain, that sadness, that loneliness, whatever it is you're trying to escape from, you're not actually escaping from it at all, because it's going to come back and hit you. All you're doing is avoiding it for a minute. And I realized that that's what I've been doing, and I've been struggling with some different things in my life, with a little bit of increased anxiety, some insomnia off and on. I made a video about that, but some insomnia off and on. I've been dealing with a lot of just stress and a lot of really negative situations. And I got to the point where I said, I've got to do something, because I'm one of those people, I always want to grow, I always want to move forward. So I wanted to do something, and I realized this is probably the best thing I can do for myself right now. And it was so nice not getting up and checking. It's not the first thing I did in the morning, but I would get up and I'd check within the first couple hours, and there'd always be a bunch of spammy messages that are either, hey girl, or hey, I know we haven't talked since high school, but do you like want to buy my mascara or my shake or whatever, or the coaches coaching coaches on how to coach coaches. Spam. Just so much spam. And I actually get more spam on my Facebook than I do on my Instagram, and my Facebook has less than 3,000 people and my Instagram has 10,000. It's just, it gets really frustrating because I don't want to be on there to be sold to or to be spammed at. Like, I just don't want to deal with that. And that was nice to get away from. The drama was also nice to get away from. I used to be fairly controversial, and I post fairly controversial things on my page because I kind of like watching people get all it was a little fun, I'm not gonna lie. But I got over that, and I stopped posting controversial things for the most part. But every now and then I'd still get people over the dumbest stuff. I literally had this lady, my son and I, a few years ago, he wanted to come with me to get a manicure. Cool. There was a color called Linkin Park, and he wanted to paint his nails black, like Chester Bennington, the lead singer of Linkin Park. So I said, why not? And I took him to the salon with me so we could get matching manicures. And I posted a picture of it. He was excited. He was happy. It was a great bonding experience. I posted a picture of it on my social media. I actually got flamed because I was supporting some Kardashian culture and worshiping the devil and I don't even know what. But I just got all these nasty messages about how I was a terrible parent and a terrible person. I was messing my child up, and I'm just going, this was just an afternoon bonding experience, and both of us really enjoyed it and we're happy. But apparently I worship the devil because of this manicure, which is interesting because men in 2500 BC Babylonia painted their nails as a status symbol. Painting nails isn't anything new for men. It has nothing to do with sexuality, not that that's an issue anyway, has nothing to do with devil worship or anything like that. It was literally an afternoon bonding experience. I remember back, and I'm aging myself in saying this, but in MySpace days, MySpace had a top 8 feature, so you could put which friends were your top 8, which is kind of crappy when you think about it anyway, that you have this hierarchy of your friends, so you have to choose which one is more important. Not a really great feature anyway, but I had a friend that had always been number 1. And then when I started seeing someone, I moved this friend to number 2 and my significant other to number 1. And I almost lost this friend because of it. So this goes back way earlier into social media. There's always this ridiculous drama. And of course, somebody posts something political and Jesus, like the whole entire world implodes on itself, and everybody has an opinion, and everybody's keyboard warrioring, and it's so freaking not worth it. Let me tell you something, nobody has ever in the history of the internet went, man, you told me off in a Facebook comment, or you told me off in the comment section of YouTube, and I never realized how wrong I was. Thank you for educating me. That has never happened. That has never happened, and it never will happen. You're not going to educate somebody by flame warring and trolling them in a comment section. And getting away from that, even though I wasn't really posting much, I'd still get messages from people that would then say because I wasn't posting, I didn't care. Because I wasn't sharing certain videos or certain news things, I didn't care, so I must just think that America sucks, and you can't win. You can't win. There's always going to be drama, and it just absolutely was not worth it. And it was also nice to get away from, like I said, that dopamine roller coaster because I was constantly kind of a slave. It was much like cocaine, that even when I wasn't around it, even when I wasn't checking, even when I wasn't refreshing, I was thinking about it. I was going, I wonder if that person messaged back yet. When am I going to get to check this again? And it was always on my mind. It was, in a way, controlling me even when it wasn't controlling me. And about, I would say 5 or 6 days after I got off, it stopped doing that. And I stopped thinking about it so much. So that was pretty awesome. No spam, no drama, and I got control of my mind again. I noticed that my brain had shut off. I think my brain had just kind of went into autopilot because, again, about at the week mark, I felt my brain just go and boot up again. And it was crazy because I didn't think I really had an issue because, like I said, I disabled my feed and I deleted the apps off my phone. Like, I didn't get any updates or anything on my phone for when I had Instagram or Facebook messages or anything, but it was still not having a positive effect on my life. So it felt so good to feel my brain turn back on, to get control. And the awesome thing for me, the most awesome thing for me, was the things that I did instead. Because even if you're not checking every 10 minutes, every 10 seconds, whatever, when you are in the middle of a task, and I used to do this all the time when I was writing, I'd be writing something and then I'd get stuck and I go, I'm just gonna check my Instagram. What that's doing, you can't multitask. So what that's doing is it's causing your brain to jump from one thing, which was the writing or trying to figure out what I was wanting to write, to the social media, to the messages. So your brain is constantly jumping back and forth. So there's no real mindfulness, there's no real focus. And once I really started gaining that focus back, there were so many amazing things. I've been reading, for example, since the beginning of quarantine. I started reading again more, which has been amazing. I'm going to start posting some of the books I've been reading over on my Instagram stories. But I realized that, I'd read a chapter and then sometimes I'd take a break and just go check my Instagram or check my Facebook or check my email. And during this, I pledged to stop doing that. And it was so awesome because I actually got lost in the stories again. Remember when you were a kid and you could just curl up with a book and you could read for an hour and a half with absolutely no interruptions? You could get lost in that book. And even though I'd been reading, I still feel like I was very distracted a lot of the time. And I'd either be thinking about something else or wanting to do something else or wanting to check something else. And in this, I just got lost. And it was so freaking amazing. And I burned through 2 fairly thick books. I mean, there were 400-page novels each. So that was pretty awesome to just get lost in these stories and not be sitting there thinking, I know I'm reading about this international spy, but I'm really thinking about whether or not I got a new like on Instagram. It was ridiculous. And I started dabbling a little bit in other languages. Nothing too serious, but my son and I started learning French a few years ago, and then he took interest, and so I started learning with him, and he started taking it on. But I've been dabbling a little bit in this last month with other languages, and it gives me that rush, that whole rush that I was looking for. Learning a new word is the same freaking awesome rush as checking and seeing that you got a new post or whatever, a new comment. It's the same rush, but now you're actually learning something good's coming from it. You're expanding your brain, you're actually being mindful. And I mean, even if I don't functionally learn 6 other languages, it's, oh cool, I can say this. I have just a little bit more appreciation for that culture and that language, and my brain expanded it a little bit. And as we age, that's really important to keep our brains working. And I went outside, even though it's warming up here in lovely sunny Arizona, I went outside quite a bit more. Just walk barefoot in the grass, walk barefoot in the sand. I have a sandbox in my backyard. Big sandbox, not the little one, like one of those big, huge sandboxes built into the backyard. And just walking around barefoot and breathing and checking in with that and not worrying. Because I feel like after a while it becomes worry, when you're sitting there and you're going, oh God, did that person message back yet? Am I getting enough likes? And it's so arbitrary. Nobody cares. It's so unimportant how many likes you got. And I just really got to reconnect with the world. I was starting to feel really dissociated, and I didn't realize it had anything to do with this because I didn't really realized that I had any kind of issue, because like I said, I used to have a super bad phone addiction, and I'd made pretty good progress with it, so I wasn't really thinking about it. I didn't connect the two, and I'd been feeling really dissociated, meaning that I felt kind of outside of myself and a little to the left. Everything felt like I was in a dream, or like I was on a movie set, like nothing was real. I was starting to feel very dissociated. And after a bit of this, I'd say that one kind of kicked in just under the week mark, where I started realizing that I was less dissociated, and realized, oh crap, I guess this probably had something to do with this. And I started feeling like myself again, and I started feeling, even though I wasn't particularly depressed per se, I started feeling happier still, and the anxiety that I'd been feeling started lowering. So there were a lot of really good things that happened, and I had more time and energy and focus to do other things, knock out some house projects, paint. I cannot paint for beans, but I decided to paint. I decided to put together puzzles, and those things make me happy. When I was doing those things, I was happy. When I was on social media, I really wasn't. Sometimes I'd get a message, sometimes, maybe 1 in 20 would I actually get something, but guess what? That message would have been there anyway. So if I only checked it once a day, twice a day, that message would have been there, and I still would have got the same happiness out of it. I wouldn't have had 19 disappointed moments where I didn't have that message. That makes sense? I hope it makes sense. But I know that I'm not going to delete my social media, because there is good that comes with it. I can connect with people and help build a community for mental health like this. And I can stay connected to people that I otherwise probably wouldn't stay connected with. But I have made the commitment to check it less, so to only check it a couple of times a day, and to not troll. So not scroll through comments, not scroll through pictures, not do anything like that. Get on, check my messages, send messages if I need to, post something if I need to, and that's it. And I think that can help keep a healthy relationship with social media, so that you're not on it all the time. You're not constantly looking for the next big thing, for the next dopamine boost. I think that that's really the best way to have a relationship with social media. That to me is the healthiest relationship, when you can get on, do what you have to do, and not get lost, be it on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I'm glad that I took that 30 days, because it really showed me that you don't have to be glued to your phone 4 hours a day for it to be a problem. It showed me that it does affect the brain. It does affect how I think. It does affect how I feel. It definitely affected my mood, so much affected my mood, even if I wasn't doing it a lot. And I am so happy that I had that experience that led me to, I'm grateful, even though it didn't feel good at the time, you know, having this disagreement with a friend, I'm grateful that I had that, so I could take a step back and look at myself and assess and figure out what I can do to grow just a little bit, to be just a little bit better of a person. And I think I am. I think that I'm just a little bit better because of that 30 days off of Facebook. So I really encourage you, whether it's 24 hours, 7 days, 30 days, whatever, take some time off. Take some time off your phone, off your social media. Actually, let me know in the comments which platform you are going to commit to taking time off of, how much time, and then come back and check in once you have done it, and let us know how different you feel, because this is part of the mental health conversation. We don't think about it, but our phones, our relationship with our phones, our relationship with social media is part of the mental health conversation. So let me know your commitment, because when you share commitments like this, you're more apt to stick with them. And I'm going to hold you accountable. I will. I'm going to hold you accountable. So make sure that you put in the comments below what platform you're going to get off of, for how long, and then let us know how it felt. I love you guys so much. Mwah!